I'm so I'm gonna give y'all some time. We're gonna put the name for the microphone. So is it easy to just turn on and off like that? Okay, cool. We're just playing a game of articulate right now. You can when you're ready. like 6 points. I think we got 6 points per like one.
Yes, objects.
Well, you're not. You ain't it.
And we don't guess, right?
Look at more daytime figures. Yeah. Look at the daytime first.
Ready?
Yeah. You walk on it. But it also has a shape. So someone said, yes, that and you walk on it.
Spiral staircase.
Pass. We put things in a round object. Big round objects. And you store it. Why?
Board.
So but you eat it at the fun fair table, yes. Under a coast of an animal. No. So under the coast of a animal island. Yes, you will take it to England.
Then we got 1, 2. We got like 5 points. Yeah, we're almost there, yo. Okay, so who wants to go next? Me. Yes.
We do object still, something different.
I think maybe you could look at the one that has the 8 on it.
Okay. Is that objects? Right.
You can do it. You can do one. You can do it.
Oh, yeah. So I'm doing this on the A. So it's not all objects.
I probably do it as all objects, though. Sometimes I don't know.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
So 2 words. The first one is a carb that we keep very commonly.
Right.
And then the second one is like a cutting object. So we're going to Sammy Chase 2 as well.
Sammy.
And then the round thing that you kind of.
Equal.
Okay. Come on. But something sharp.
Equal.
Wow. And I'm going to catch things in the sea. I need
Fishing net.
Catholics, they go to the where is it at? Sorry. This is a so that everyone gets this.
That's 4 people. Yeah, wow. So for this, keep that in mind. 4 people. I told want to know.
I didn't mention that.
So whatever happens, we don't know it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but someone else.
So is it just
Okay.
So to ask to go around this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fine. So just ask. I wanted to ask if you have people to turn from space.
Yeah.
The object.
Okay.
Okay, I had like kids swim. Okay, a pen that has a specific
I have a question for you. So here it is.
What are like
You saw.
Let's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
I have to go tap.
Yeah.
Good luck.
They said what they said. Wait, very.
Lighter.
Are you allowed to do that?
Okay. Unfortunately, the time has run out. But you got like, I say you probably got like 4. Yeah, 4. Because I was like, I don't know which ones were which. But also, we're gonna switch into a different game right now because this is very intellectually demanding. Yeah, but shit, guys. But basically, we're gonna do some icebreakers. And the places that we're sitting right now, let's keep this order as our groups, right? So it might be a bit awkward on this side, just like yeah. Maybe like 2 people can come over here. Yeah. That's to balance it out. Okay. Word. So since this group is plantain,
What?
this group is plantain, and this group is jollof. And
You guys are hungry. I'm sorry. Food is coming.
Yeah, 2 people. So one of the icebreakers that we have, the best thing over here. Maybe we'll come over here. I think it's
Do you guys want to come over here?
so you can keep it like this. We're gonna do an icebreaker that we usually do in a lot of our events. I don't know if any of you have ever been to our previous ones, but we like to do an icebreaker, and each person has to cheer on their teammates.
Yeah. And a set game that is called the Lucky Dip. Yeah. And then if you have someone in your team that is feeling quite courageous to be nominated, then we choose one person, and then the other person's team, like we choose one person from this side, and then you come in for the Lucky Dip. And that's basically the game. What is the Lucky Dip? Yeah. You got what I mean? That's the point. Yeah.
Gotta keep them guessing.
Yes. Moyo is also here for the announcement.
It's like 0 places. So very quick announcement. If you want to bathroom, the bathroom just turn that way. There's 2 bathrooms. Use. Feel free to if you want to sit on the floors on the sides, you're encouraged to. You can have your snacks and water in here. If you have any hot food or any things that you get from the bar, drinks and stuff, you can't bring it in here, so that's eat it in the center itself. But aside stuff
Yeah, thank you, Moya. Beautiful hair.
So yeah. So any more questions about the Lucky Dip, y'all?
So somebody just volunteers to be.
Yeah, basically.
Volunteer
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to volunteer? Yeah. What's the name of your team again?
Jollof Treaty.
Jollof Treaty. Yeah, okay. So Jollof Treaty, basically you have a chance of winning this no matter what the game is if your team cheers for you very well.
Okay.
Yeah. And who wants to come up against Jollof Treaty from Plantain?
Yay! We got Mio.
Okay, so we have Mio and then what's your name?
Louisa.
Okay, nice. So we
Oh my god.
we like to we would like to ask everybody from Plantain to rise if you want to, No, actually you should. Rise. Plantain team, rise. Wow. So beautiful, so many beautiful plantains here. And then from Jollof chicken. I'm sorry.
Maybe you could call it JT.
JT. Okay, so everybody from JT could rise. Rise for the national anthem. Okay. Now.
1, 2.
Okay. So we are going to be doing basically, you don't even need to be good. You just need to be confident. I need to talk your shit, and your team, I feel whoever gets the most clout from their team wins. Yeah. So, since you look the most scared, you have to start. You have to start with you.
Okay.
But it's okay because really you're representing them. So you flop is actually their fault. Exactly.
Comunidad.
Yeah. So you wanna
I'm gonna hit it.
you're gonna hit the beat.
I'm thinking, do you want to release the volume on this?
Yes. I wanna be able to
Or like a freestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. On the spot. Okay. And this is actually. So you gotta start thinking about the rhymes, guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
A 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4, and a
Let's show out. Team effort. Let's go. Ready?
Okay, so now it gets down to the nitty gritty. We have to decide who won. So, the fairest way to do it is just to cheer, basically. And yeah, we all know that's a crazy metric of guessing who wins. So, yeah, so this side, JT. Oh, okay, well. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
Wow. Come on, Ted. Wait. We know that you guys are the smaller team for reasons that we kind of say. I still believe in you, and I still think that you guys are capable of winning this. So, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so winners
Oh my god.
in the plantain corner, we have nigga that try real hard, nigga that give it small, and we have another nigga that really bumping on the right hand. But between the two, we have to go with Sunday! Is there anything that you would like to say to the people? What do you want to go?
I'd like to thank the great beautiful nation of Jamaica. I'd like to thank my mom. I'd like to thank my dad. I'd like to thank my boyfriend's dog. You know, going to see an album dropping next week. Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you for volunteering. Honestly, both of you guys, like, I guess the reason that we do that game is just to show that, like, you don't necessarily always know what's going to happen in life, and you don't know what you're volunteering for sometimes, but if you have your back, then you're fine. So that's what it is. So everything got for yourself. Okay. So,
45.
okay. Honestly, I'm just disappointed looking at that. Like,
I think that's actually a foreshadowing of the next thing that we're gonna do.
oh, nice. Yeah, this is true. Okay, so we have one last game before we hand it over to Muriel. And the last game is. Who's going to start?
Technical difficulty. Okay. We got one more game, and we're gonna need people to volunteer. Yet again, represent your people.
Do we get an insight into the game?
No, that's how it is. Life comes at you backwards, sideways, up, down. Okay.
Okay. So first, before we get into the game, you need to know the vibe. You need like one volunteer from JT.
Hey!
Yeah, period. So you're standing in enemy territory because you're that brave. Yeah. Okay. And then we just need one volunteer from Plantain. Debbie. We want you. Okay. Anyone?
Hey!
Yes. Okay.
You rose up. Attention. Oh God!
I don't know who's gonna win this because you guys both are black, so it's really hard to tell.
Yeah. So first of all, let's go.
I'm even out of breath right now.
That was so good. Y'all really showed us Jesus. So now it's time for us to all support your teammates who volunteered very bravely. Ready? The verdict.
Remember last time, I just said if we rewind up this topic, this team does like half your size. Like I was showing you. So okay.
Yeah, because they got to watch us and then they'll be
Okay, I actually
That's
that's quite true. Okay.
Okay, come on. Plantain. Plantain are sweet. Show your sweetness.
I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Let's Okay.
You know now, ready, right? Okay. Jollof treaty. Treaty of all nations. West African and beyond. Show your support!
The winner was unclear, but okay. Yeah, it was the love.
Unfortunately, but you know what? You really showed us.
You showed us
You
shake.
showed us shaking today. You showed us
But then you showed us that. So, but well done. Welcome to our team. Thank you to everyone for participating in this lighthearted event, this open up evening. So all the screens, all the energy in the room, let that be present here. And like, please, when we switch over to Moyo, who's gonna come over to set, like, give them all that love, that energy, and that attentiveness. And yeah, well done to everybody. And gonna come back on the music, give you about 2-3 minutes to chill, and then we're gonna get into this. And yeah, we're really excited. So,
Period. Also, feel free to ask people their pronouns. This is a trans-led space, trans-centering space. Unfortunately, we don't have enough name tags today, but if you look at someone deep in the eyes in a very uncomfortable way, you'll remember their pronouns. Everybody, story, center. All right, we about to get into the nitty gritty of it. We have our amazing, beautiful, intelligent, world-bending, supernatural, logician also, facilitator today, Moyo. So if you give up a round of applause for Moyo. Moyo organized all this event, and they're going to be taking us through an open dialogue basically on designing relationships. So yeah, I'm gonna let you lead, bro. Thank you so much, bro.
Hi, everybody. I'm a little shy, so like I'll talk very softly, but eventually, like when I get passionate, my voice might change a little bit.
We love it. We love it here.
Okay, so I titled this like I love you in the gayest of ways, and like it's something that I like to tell some of my friends because it's just really cute. But as you all know, we're here to discuss an open dialogue on designing relationships, platonia, through the lens of our aromanticism and asexuality. So this is something that a podcaster I really admire, Molly Adler, likes to say when she's like starting a podcast, and I really want to try to embody that today, which is the idea of like, I don't want to talk to your personality, I want to talk to your soul. I want you to like kind of open your heart to what I'm saying, and to listen very openly. If it strikes something, that's perfect. If it doesn't, that's also good. But yeah, just opening up that space. Because a lot of this is from my own personal experiences. Like as an RA spoke myself, I'm not a guru, not an expert. I'm just here to give you answers. I'm just here to like pose the same questions that I had and maybe give a different perspective. So why are we here? If you've read the books and you've seen the things and the TikToks, the three things we're trying to do. We're trying to deconstruct romance and sex as hierarchy. We want to together, collectively, envision and co-create honest ways of being in a relationship with each other, and most importantly, to support the Black, Ace, and Arrow Spec community. Now, I need to like put this disclaimer that we're not really going to be delving into like the sex or romantic lives of our races because I feel like it's a bit personal, but also like it's not the core we're trying to do here. It's just like a lens that we're going to use to like deconstruct a much larger problem. But anyone who doesn't know what asexuality is or might be new to the concept, because the people who've never heard of the word. Asexuality, and this is from Refusing Compulsory Sexuality, a Black asexual lens on our sex obsessed culture by Sharonda J. It basically is, she says, relating sexually to no one. People on the asexuality spectrum, also called ACEs, experience little to no sexual attraction or little to no sexual desire. And these are things that evidence either by the presence or absence of sexual arousal and activity. So very quick like summary, there's a very big difference between arousal and attraction. And I think that's what she's trying to like highlight here. And then defining aromanticism. Aromantics, often shortened as aro, describes people who do not experience romantic attraction or experiencing little to no romantic attraction. Aromanticism is a romantic orientation and may involve forms of attraction that are not necessarily romantic or interest in relationships that are intimate in other ways. There is no similar experience of aromanticism. So in general, asexuality and romanticism is a spectrum of experience, but it's about what is being prioritized versus like not expressing any type of relationship or any type of intimacy. So I just put my own definition. I thought was like this to summarize. Sorry, I usually have lots of memes like at different points. I just really love memes. But yeah, this is my definition of like when people ask me like, what does that mean? It's like an asexual is someone who does not prioritize or experience sexual consumption as their primary way of interacting or forming relationships. And the inverse of that, aromanticism, is they don't prioritize or experience romantic desire as their primary way. So it's not the primary way. It can be variations of it, but it's not the first thing when they see someone that they are prioritizing. So this is a little story, and I felt it would be nice to like give some context to how I figured out I was able ace, but also some of the things that came as a result of that. Because that's also the question I guess, like, how do you work, blah, 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 blah. So this is me with like my community, well, like all my community. No, no shade, no shade. No shade, we're not big people, but I used to be like heavy Christian. Wow. So this is from that time in my life. But also I used to live in Nigeria and I moved to the UK in 2019. So first of all, how am I surviving? Because I know it's hard. Yeah, let's get into it. So like yeah, basically like moving here was such a dissonance. I just finished uni, I moved here. I had this idea of community that I was very familiar with, the people around me. Then I moved to UK, it was just so different. Everyone was so like in their own little bubble. And then I also started moving away from like Christianity. So my Christian community that I thought I had, it became increasingly difficult to have any sort of conversation with them as people. And like even any type of like friendship as well. It's just for like a fundamental yeah, there was always like that little mismatch somewhere, not happening. And like it was a very slow, very painful process of like that stuff realization, like, oh wow, okay. And then you're like, you try to make friends to the UK, and we've all seen the memes of like, let's hang out, or really, what you want to do is press my ass. Talk about it. And then I also went into a partnership, and I think it was during the partnership that I realized that I was aromantic, asexual, because I was always in community and always had friends around me. I never had to think about the fact that I didn't prioritize sexual or romantic desire. And I never really been in a relationship, but it wasn't a problem because I was in uni, I had a good time. And then I got a partner, and they were just like, "You don't want me." I'm like, I'm not sure what you mean by you don't want me, because I feel like I'm expressing so much deep love for this person in so many deep ways. But it just felt like it wasn't enough. I felt like I was doing something wrong. It was such a cathartic moment. Like I would just go like, what is wrong with me? like, why don't I feel this? Why don't I feel that? Why does my partner feel this? And it was that constant conversation, and even in explaining that it just wasn't matching. I think it was one of my Google searches that I saw like, oh, I think asexuality. I was like, oh, what's that? Yeah. And yeah, like that kind of led into this rabbit hole. And even like in expressing queerness, you kind of have that question in different queer scenarios, because a lot of queerness is about expressing sexual attraction or showing it. And so it's like I thought I made this joke that I used to think, oh, I was attracted to everybody. Turns out I'm attracted to nobody. And it was like that realization in my head. But yeah. So I think the interesting thing about all of this, and even in my experiences, the importance of like language as a container, because invariably like words point to things, and there's some like really nice thing visual about like different types of like attractions, romantic, sexual, platonic, aesthetic, whatever. You can Google all the stuff. But I think the difference that made for me was having the language to validate that I exist to people, and having the words to communicate that to other people, like this is what I feel. But I think in contrast, the other thing that made me realize that the term or the alienation of aromanticism and asexuality only exists because there's a default. The only reason why I have to explain to people what I am is because something about me is an anomaly, right? And there's a normal that I am sort of deviating from, and like get punished for it and stuff like that. But we'll get into it. Yeah, so I'm seeing this word from like Kathy Thursday is the chair of the Young Africa Center. She likes to say like the diaspora is not a monolith. So I'm just saying that the word. I'm saying like desire is not a monolith. I don't think that there's one way to experience desire. I think, and this is just examples of different types of intimacy that you can experience with people. We have emotional intimacy, physical, experiential, spiritual, intellectual. We have different types of attractions that you can experience: sexual, romantic, physical, behavioral, emotional, intellectual, psychological, aesthetic, social, attraction, and these are all different ways that you can see someone and you can get a flavor of like of them as an individual, and that strikes something inside of you, right? So the interesting thing about this whole asexuality and aromanticism discussion is about the politics of desire, right? It's the question of like, how do you know what you really want? And how do you know that what you want? Because that was a lot of the learning I had to do. Of like, this is like what I wanted in my life. Not all my life, but like, I've been seeing things online of what I should want, or what I should aspire to. And then the realization of actually, I don't want that, or I don't want that the way that people think that I should want that. And so the politics of desire explores the connection between human desire and formation, maintenance, and transformation of political and social structures. So it's just basically about the fact that what we want actually shapes how we react in our political and social environments. And there are just three things I want to like emphasize. One is that desire is a social construct, and it is heavily policed and reinforced. And so you can actually use desire to like either reinforce the social norm or to challenge the social norms. When we start to want certain things, we can actually shift what's considered as normal. And then desire is an expression of an ecosystem. So we have like individual desires, and then we have things that we as a collective, we as a group of people desire together. But at its core, it tells us what we should pay attention to, what I should be paying attention to as an individual, but also what all of us together should be paying attention to. And very most importantly is desire is about power. It's about the ability to influence what people should perceive, what they should express, and regulate even how they express that. And I think it goes without saying, but we can we can all in some way we feel the dissonance where it's like I don't feel like a lot of choices I'm making on my own. I feel like there's a power narrative that's happening in my mind where like unconsciously like I'm wanting certain things. So what is a relationship? It seems like such a very simple question, but the reason why I asked this question, why I put this slide in there, is because every time I say the word relationship, everyone thinks romance and everyone thinks sexual. Like I was talking to someone about the event, and she was like, "Oh, so it's for couples." I'm like, actually, the opposite of that. It is the opposite of that, but it's because like when you think about the container of the word relationship, it's been reinforced over time to only point and for you to only focus on one type of relationship. But at its core, it is the way that two things are connected. It's a state of being connected. It's a state of being related, being interrelated. And so, a very quick question. We also like one or two people. Feel free to like submit this up. But when you think, or you can try to actually, no. When you think about the word relationship, what bonds or relationships come to mind? Yeah, correct.
What did they say?
Yeah, parent child, friendship, colleagues, political. That's a big one. You don't think about it, but your political climate is a relationship. I think that's why it's very, very important for us to define what relationships are, because it's like, what are you not focusing on? Like only focusing on a certain aspect. Like what are they hiding? Not they, but what is big for you? It's like this. So I just feel like a little big circle, and I just feel like different types of relationships that I feel like exist that we don't really consider, including enemies. I feel like you're off. But we have like, yeah, we have parasocial support workers, service providers, social contracts, spiritual homies, elders, friends, tribes, mentors, all these relationships that I feel like we could be more intently cultivating. It's political, there's economic relationships. It's really if you think about the social climates of the things that happen in the world and with Palestine. You think about what those types of relationships actually mean, what we are told to what we're told that we cannot change, what we're told that we have no control about because it's like none of our business. But actually, it's not. It is our business. It does affect you in some way. Like your ecosystem of your relationship affects who you are as a person. But amidst of that, there is a relationship you have to resolve, which is also to be
remembered. So here we have the panopticon. And I'll show you the definition of panopticon after this is about like this prison that's built and everyone kind of watches each other. Blah, blah, blah. But the reason why I'm highlighting this is there's been like this very weird shift, I think, since the advent of social media. Before social media, we definitely were watching each other. But I think with the rise of like access, there's been this like unconscious policing of desire. This is very much like you're like discarding people who don't build utility, like this fear of like how people perceive you if you're not maximizing output every single time. And that also shows up even in our offline like reality because I don't people say that social media is not a real place. I don't believe that. I very much believe that social media is a reflection of what's happening in real life. And then we think about like dating apps, media propaganda, Disney stories. These are all things that are done to reinforce the fact that you should be doing something. You should be seeing someone through a certain lens, through a certain perspective. You should be also interacting with people and presenting yourself in a certain way. Otherwise, yeah. So this is a definition of Buddhism. It's a very interesting concept. But it's an institutional building that was originally designed as a prison, where like the inmates are constantly under surveillance without knowing that they are being watched, right? And the self-discipline here is not a good self-discipline. It's actually like more like a self-flagellation, where because we are in this big circle and we're all watching each other, and we think they're all being watched. Slowly, we become the ones watching each other and kind of policing each other. And I think that's what it's kind of devolved into where we've moved from this part of like, yeah, there's the man and the systems, but actually no, is that we're actually the ones policing each other, even our little interactions, the way we talk to people, the way we say things, we say, how we react to certain things, what we expect of people. Yeah. So body ownership and the performance of desire. And this comes back into what I was saying. I feel like there's a lot of attachment to people's bodies, either the way that people should present, either but the way that what people should give you. And so what ends up happening is a lot of us are actually performing desire. Like we're performing how we feel like we want people to perceive us, what we want out of certain relationships or what relationships we want to like prioritize. And what is also happening is that eroticism, and if you read Audre Lorde's views of erotic, you know it. As like a lot of eroticism, which is just the power of like being able to create from a place of passion, it's being limited to sexuality. I feel like there are so many great partnerships, great friendships, great bonds, mentorship, elder relationships that people are missing on because, and even like creating things together, creating change together, because what you prioritize when you see people is like, can I sleep with this person? Or can they fulfill like my romantic desire almost immediately? And so like you kind of start seeing people as bodies to be consumed, which again capitalism, right? Rather than souls to be known. And then that then brings the question of which bodies are worthy or obligated to be consumed and by who. And so we have things like ageism, ableism, phobia, and all this, and racial culture, misogyny, homophobia. It's all tied into the same idea of what should be desired, who should be desired, and how they should be desired. So yeah, same thing. But I think I really like this tweet. And this was a thing that got me thinking, which is like sometimes we think we want sex, but like what we want isn't sex, intimacy. It's to be touched, to be looked at, to be admired, to be smiled at, to laugh with someone, to feel safe, to feel like someone's got you. That's what we came. And I feel like because like sexual intimacy is so sexual and romantic intimacy is so common, it's so easy to build. I don't want to say easy, it's such a default. And also we have a lot of societal contracts and constructs that make it easy to build these types of things, right? Like people know more about those topics and know about any type of other topics. And it even shows in how like friendships break down, like people get into relationships. And that was actually something that happened as well with my friends, was like the more people started getting into relationships, the more I just like, where are you? I have no idea where you are. Just kind of you can tell the sudden change of even the ability to repair the ability to spend time with your friends, the ability to, talk about things that don't prioritize your romance. Like, again, not bad things, but just like, yeah, like, how are you defining intimacy? And like, what do you actually desire? What do you need? So, quote from Usual Erotic, Audrey Lord, and she says that this is one of the reasons why the erotic is so big and so often relegated to the bedroom alone, when it is recognized for all. For once we begin to feel deeply all the aspects of our lives, we begin to demand from ourselves and from our life pursuits that they feel in accordance with the joy that we know ourselves to be capable of. And think about this in terms of interpersonal relationships. But as we think about it in a political system, if we actually start to think about like, if we actually deriving joy in our political landscape, that begins to change things. That begins to make us more intentional about how we're showing about what we're questioning. I put this in here because I thought it was very interesting. But nature has a very, we can all love nature. I think that goes without saying. And I think a lot of times as human beings, this is like the way people think we feel like we're separate from like the whole, where we like we're part of it all. But like nature is a very good example of an ecosystem of relationships and how if an ecosystem is not balanced, you can tell like things start to go wrong. For example, global warming. When an ecosystem is balanced, the relationships between each element, each entity, each matter in that system is very intentional and it's very much about the nourishment and the circulation of resources and circulation of making sure that things do work together. So it's like, I guess the point of this is to think about your life as an ecosystem. Think about your relationships as an ecosystem, not just as like a one-way thing with the specific party or specific parties. When you grow up, people stop asking what your favorite dinosaur is. But the idea is just to like think about a lot of our self-concept. We know ourselves. I think we already know this. Again, I don't think anything I'm saying is profound. I don't think anything I'm saying is surprising. I think it's just like highlighting the string of thought. I think deep down inside, we all know that people are mirrors. People help us kind of understand ourselves. You cannot understand yourself in isolation. But with the whole idea of seeing people as bodies to be consumed, is there's this dying art of curiosity, of play, of exploration, of actually trying to get to know people, of actually trying to understand people, trying to understand things. And like I said, things exist in context. You exist in a context, and relationships determine what our experiences look like, what our life looks like. Everyone knows like the loneliness epidemic and stuff that's happening, but invariably the loneliness epidemic is something that we can also kind of reverse. Like if at that point it feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy, if that makes sense. Like that almost makes you give up. But I feel like little acts of just thinking like, take a minute and actually like emphasize this and show up in community, even if it's messy, even if it's hard, even if like I might not have the words to express that now, I can try to show up. So this is a message from my aunt. That's why I was like, yeah, how you're coping, I hear it. Because like my aunt sent me a message like I think like 2 weeks ago, and she was like, oh, I celebrate your bravery. Like, how do you cope with this country? So I moved here in 2019. My aunt moved here in like 2023, so she's been here for 2 years. And I was like trying to explain to her. So she's feeling it too. She's like, wait, in Nigeria, I have friends, I have community, I have support. In this country, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. And she's an older woman as well. And it's so much harder as you grow older to make new friends, to make new community. Yeah, London, UK, it is well. But I was trying to explain to her, like, it's not easy, but like, we find moments of joy and community, like, where we can. Like, also just trying to check on how she's coping on her end. But it's just a reminder, like, there's so many factors that are affecting, and people have such different contexts. And, like, we love globalization, but I think one thing that we don't always talk about is the effect globalization has had on like relationships, like families that fall apart. You have no contact with people that support system, goes to a new country, start from scratch. It's hard. It's really, really difficult. So, amongst all of this, I'm very careful that we don't swing to another extreme, which is an extreme of like, yeah, everything sex and romantics is the most important thing. And it's like, no, no sex, no romance. I don't think that sex or romance are bad words. And that's why I was trying to highlight in the beginning that desire is not a monolith. You can experience a wide range of desire, but you're allowed to give priority to what actually serves your needs. And you're allowed to not take a certain like default, especially as like for a lot of romantics and a lot of asexual people, obviously I'm saying both because I fall within the spectrum of both, it's really hard. It's very, 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 very hard. Like even when you know, like it's very hard to not want to conform, especially when you care about people in other certain type of ways. You can almost feel like there's something wrong with you. So I think the point of destigmatizing this is to remove the power from it. It's like being aromantic and asexual is very valid. And being allosexual is or aromantic is also valid. You know, like it's valid. You don't need to force anything on anybody. So yeah, like again, refusing to react in judgment and control, or deem some connections better than others, and again, just saying the same thing about things take different forms and tones. So let love teach you without trying to turn it into demand or entitlement. Weirdly enough, I the video. My bad, I just forgot it was going to be a video. But this is a video from a Instagram person I really like. Her name is Katie, and she's just talking about like some stuff from bell hooks, but it's the idea that like love is an actual word and it's quite expensive. So I'll just play it. Should play. Weirdly enough, I'm not marked up on how talk about love, so let's
No, not back here.
hooray for technology. Okay. Since technology is like, oh, no. Weirdly enough, I have not marked up my copy of all about love, so let's yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll show it at the end. But I think what she is trying to say here is just like the same idea about like love being related to like nurturance, and if like you shouldn't feel like a lot of times we feel like love should come with abuse, and I feel like there's a level of abuse that isn't spoken about when people feel ownership to your body, because it's really hard to like explain it because it's so normal to be sexual or to be romantic that sometimes you don't actually like think about the fact that someone trying to force a certain narrative on you is abusive and actually isn't love. And so he's thinking about love as not something that is abusive, not something that is controlling, but something that gives you the space to experience your fulfillment as an individual. Yeah. And again, I thought about self-concept through like the relationships, but one thing that should not be negated, because again, there's that trap of like falling into that panopticon state of like I'm constantly defining myself to people. I think there's also a need to like sit with your own self, like inquire with your own self, like what do I actually want? Like what truly stares me as a person, not trying to guilt or shame yourself for being sincere, because it was really hard. I think even personally for me, I'm saying this very freely, but at the beginning of realizing that I might be asexual and romantic, it was very shameful. It felt like there was something wrong with me. And it took a lot of like years of just sitting down with myself and trying to find the words to put this in a way that made sense to me. And like actually asking myself, like, when do I feel the most perceived, like the most fulfilled? And I did perform desire in many, many situations. I would fake things, I would act and think that if I got enthusiastic enough, I would finally like maybe I would feel it if I just, was enthusiastic enough. And I just felt miserable every single time. Um, the level of pleasure I was feeling really forced me to sit with myself. So it's like sitting with yourself, like what do you want? Like what do you desire? What really makes you feel fulfilled as an individual?
Weirdly enough, I don't know.
I think above all, it's very important to keep meaning in motion. I think that if I allow for nuance in how I was defining my experiences, I don't think I would be here. I think it's okay to find out. You'd be surprised the things you find out about yourself overnight. And I think that's why it's good to like listen to yourself, to listen to your desires without calcifying your identity around it, without saying, no, this is how I am. I need to prove to myself that I'm this person. And again, so if you feel something, if you have something that nudges your a certain expectation, I know I don't think I feel that way. Treat it as information, treat it as something to think about, to reflect on, right? And allow yourself to change. I think we're allowed to change, we're allowed to evolve as people. Um, yeah, and this is just again reinforcing the same thing, and another quote from Sharon J. Brown, Sharon J. Brown. And I think it's very important to classify things, but I wanted to make a demarcation between classification for communication versus an identity. And the reason why I'm saying this is because of allowing for nuance, allowing yourself to move. I think it can be very hard if you classify something as your identity. When things change, they can be this very weird, like cognitive dissonance. You can feel when you're trying to fight, like, no, I'm this person, when everything else in you is saying, no, absolutely not. Oh, I'm feeling this thing, but everything is like, no, you're miserable. Oh, I'm not feeling this thing. You know, like, but he says when we prioritize our desires that are present, we are choosing to hold on to the truest parts of ourselves that we have always been told to cast off. In asexuality, there is abundance. I think that's a powerful thing because people always think that asexuality is the removals, but what it means is that there's room to expand. There are multiple possibilities of companionship that you can explore. So multiple possibilities for stability and reciprocal support. There's room to let go of the myth that we are less valuable, less productive, less deserving, and less human without native sexuality.
Yeah.
Word. So this is another like quote from Alan West, a couple of books, this last one. But love is one thing, playing many roles, different types of love. I think that's the thing I'm really trying to emphasize today. And he says, so what we must learn is not to divide love, not to say that this part is sacred and this part is shameful, but to recognize that all of it is part of one single movement. Whether you're embracing a loved one, helping a child tie a shoe, or simply watching the evening light fall on the hills, it's all the same energy. It's life beholding itself. You're a human being. You are experiencing life. And that will change in different forms. That will come to you in different forms. Different moments will make you feel so deeply. Yeah, that was a word of me feeling very deeply. So my last question to you is like, what do you desire? What do you really want? We've all been raised to fear the yes within ourselves. I think that's crazy. But recognizing the power of erotic within our lives can give us energy to pursue genuine change in our world. So if you suddenly feel like you're throwing the pathway to everyone, so you suddenly feel like starting a revolution, that was me. So, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Moyo. Moyo, you've taught me so much in the span of time that I've known you, and I feel like even from experiencing them, I've got to like see and feel this idea of like nuance. We all deserve nuance. We all deserve to get to be known slowly and to, have curiosity for each of our experiences because
if we're seeking knowledge and power from outside of ourselves, outside of our bodies, we're going to consistently validate the systems that oppress us instead of the internal knowledge that we have from within ourselves, within our ancestry, within all these things. So thank you so much, Samoyo. And I guess if you also want to figure out like where they post, their Instagram is at Moyology. Yeah, so they post a lot of great information there as well and great recommendations. We'll also be giving out a reading list at the end. You can send over about the topics that were spoken about. But yeah, for now, we're gonna let the knowledge sit. We're gonna let the knowledge marinate. We're gonna have a little 10-minute break. So when you're ready, you can, have a little smoke, get some water. There's a bar, a really good bar, and food. But you cannot bring it inside, sorry. Everybody just stand outside and eat. So yeah, great.
Also to reiterate, if you go to the main building, you can get water. There's toilets in there. Yeah, there's also toilets in there, allegedly. And yeah, 10-minute break. Also, we really encourage you to speak to people that you don't know, people that we didn't come with. That's also the point of these events, is to be in open dialogue with each other. So yeah, 10 minutes for reflections, food, water, and tea.
Yes.